If you've played guitar for any length of time, you've probably heard about the 5 pentatonic patterns. These are what guitarists often use to play guitar solos. They typically tend to be the starting point for a lot of players when they're first getting into improvising or playing any kind of lead guitar. But I don't think the pentatonic patterns that we learn on the guitar are as useful as we tend to think they are. I think they're fantastic for communicating what part of the fretboard you're on. If you tell someone you're playing in pattern 1, they know whereabouts you are. They know what shapes you're using. But I don't think they're the best for learning the scales initially. So today, I'm going to show you how to apply a little bit of music theory, and you're going to learn how to play your major and minor pentatonic scales, your major and minor scales, and it's going to be easier and more useful than if you just started with the 5 pentatonic patterns. So we're going to want to start with pattern 1. You might already know that one. This isn't even a pentatonic scale because a scale goes from A to A. This is what I would think of as the pattern. So what I would say here is we're playing from A to A through pattern 1. But we're playing 2 octaves. I want us to start with 1 octave. It's not the whole pattern, but it doesn't need to be. The problem with practicing it in 2 octaves is that it doesn't give us as much of an awareness of this as a root note. We're so used to the sequence starting here and finishing here or finishing here, but that incorporates 2 whole octaves. If we play it as 1 octave, now we start to become more aware of the other octave in the middle. One of the cool things about the guitar is it's possible to play both a right expression of the scale and a left expression of the scale from the same root note. Here's my A. Now I'm going to play to the right of that root note. That's the right expression. Here's my A. Now I'm going to play to the left of that root note. There's my left expression. You can hear they sound exactly the same. And if you know your pentatonic pattern 1, you already know both of these expressions. If we start from that octave and continue through our pattern 1, that is the left expression of the minor pentatonic scale. We're starting on this root note and playing to the left of that root note. Now, we want to play these from the same root note, which means we want to take both expressions from here. So what we have to do is simply take this shape that we have, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, and we just have to apply that here. 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Now, we do need to take into account the B string. Every string set on the guitar is 4 notes apart. E to A, E, F, G, A. That's 4 notes, right? A to D, A, B, C, D, 4 notes. All of them are 4 notes apart, except for G to B. G, A, B, that's 3 notes apart. That means if we're moving from the G to the B string, we have to add an extra note. We have to move up a fret to compensate. So if we're playing somewhere that doesn't involve the B string, we have to remove a fret. We have to get rid of a note to make up for that compensation. So when I'm playing my left expression from this note, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, you can see that the 1, 3 and the 1, 4, they start in the same fret, but when I play it here, 3, 1, 3, I have to go back down 1, 4, 1 to compensate for that B string situation. So with those 2 expressions, the right expression and the left expression, you can actually play that scale everywhere on the fretboard. You don't need to learn the 5 pentatonic patterns. All you need to know is where the A notes are. If I want to do it starting on my A string, the right expression, the left expression. If I want to do it starting on my D string, the right expression, the left expression. If I want to do it starting on the G string, the right expression, the left expression. And we can also take these backwards. So if we are on that root note there on the D string, and I want to go this way, then I play down the right expression. Or I could play down the left expression. So from every root note, you can either play to the right or to the left. You'll get exactly the same sound. These scales are mirror images of each other. And you can either go up or down with the left or right expressions. Now, that is a heck of a lot easier than learning 5 pentatonic patterns all up the neck. In this case, you just have to learn a single pattern, pattern 1, and then understand how to incorporate a tiny little bit of music theory to play across the entire neck. Now, this does require us having an understanding of the notes on the fretboard. Learning the notes on the fretboard is actually really easy to do. So if you haven't got your head around them, check out the course we've linked in the description. You can get them down in 25 days. Know them like that. So we've just talked about how to play our minor pentatonic scale all over the fretboard, using these left and right expressions of the scale. That's the minor pentatonic scale. The good news is you already know everything you need to in order to play the major pentatonic scale all over the fretboard. So we're going to work with a relative major key here. We were playing the A minor pentatonic scale, which means that the relative major will be the C major pentatonic scale. Just like before, we're going to play this C major pentatonic scale through pattern 1. Now, A minor and C major are what we call relative scales because they share exactly the same notes. They have different flavors though. If I play from A to A through the same notes, we get this minor sound. If I play from C to C through these same notes, we get this major sound. Now, we've talked about why we want to practice this as a single octave as opposed to 2 octaves. So this is what the C major pentatonic scale looks like as a single octave. And this is the left expression because I'm playing to the left of the root note. Now, we actually already know the right expression of the C major pentatonic scale. We finished on a C here. If we continue through pattern 1, from this C to this C, we are playing to the right of the root note. That is the right expression of the C major pentatonic scale. All I need to do is apply that shape starting on this C, taking into account the B string, we get this. 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Now, I'm going to use my 2nd and my 4th finger to play this shape, just so it's a little bit easier. So now we have the right expression of the C major pentatonic scale, and the left expression of the C major pentatonic scale. Just like before, we can apply that everywhere across the fretboard. As long as we know where the note C is, here's the right expression, here's the left expression. We can start on the D string with the right expression, with the left expression. We can start on the G string with the right expression and the left expression. And just like before, we can go down these scales as well. We don't have to just play up. So if we're starting on this G string, we can go down the left expression, or we can go down the right expression. So with a single pattern, we now understand how to play the minor and the major pentatonic scales literally everywhere across the fretboard. We can take this even further. A pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale. Penta, 5. Major scales have 7 notes, so the pentatonic scale is missing 2 notes. We can think of the pentatonic scale kind of like a skeleton, and when we add those 2 missing major notes back in, it is like adding muscles to the skeleton. If we have our right expression of our C major pentatonic scale, and we add in the 2 notes we were missing, we now have our C major scale. If we have the left expression of the C major pentatonic scale, and we add back in the 2 notes we were missing, we now have the left expression of the C major scale. And because A minor, C major are relative, we can also do the exact same thing with the A minor pentatonic scale to get the A minor scale. Here's our A minor pentatonic scale. Add in the 2 extra notes. That's the right expression. We've got the left expression, minor pentatonic, minor scale. So let's recap. In order to be able to play over the entire fretboard using your major, minor pentatonic scales or your major and minor scales, all you have to do is learn pattern 1 and understand where the notes on the fretboard are, which if you don't know how to find them, check out the course. It's really, really easy to do and it will completely change your guitar playing. But to me, that just seems so much easier than trying to learn 5 different, seemingly completely separate patterns, which you then have to apply. And you still don't understand how they fit in terms of music. Personally, I think it's much better to take this idea of the right and the left expressions of the scale, apply a little bit of theory, just a little bit. Now we have something that is super useful and actually helps us understand music a little bit more. We can apply this principle to other scales as well. If we have our minor pentatonic scale, we can add the blues note. We've got the blues scale. That's the right expression of the blues scale. We can do it to the left-hand side of the root note. Now we've got the left expression of the blues scale. So that's the lesson, guys. That is maybe a slightly different take on how to think about your major and minor pentatonic scales or your major and minor scales. We've got a root note and we've got an expression to the right and to the left of that root note. Those expressions are mirror images of each other and they allow us to play over the entire fretboard. Later in the year, we're going to be releasing an entire course around the pentatonic scale with some fresh ideas as to how to think about it. So let me know if you've got any questions. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with future lessons. All of the diagrams we talked about can be found in the article over at guitarnutrition.com. So head over there if you want to go through the material a little slower. And that's it for today, guys. We'll catch you next time.